Flash Thompson is about to get an unlikely teammate. Here's your look at the Diamond Select Venom, Agent Venom PVC diorama statue. A hulking and twisted distortion of Spider-Man, Venom is the result of an alien symbiote merged with a human holding a bitter grudge against Peter Parker. This combination has proven nearly lethal to the wall crawler numerous times. Enter Flash Thompson, now a paraplegic war veteran who still wished to serve his country. This symbiote and Flash bonded together to create Agent Venom, a government operative that hunted down military targets. Suppressing drugs were designed to keep the symbiote from its usual killing frenzy while on missions, though Flash had to watch his emotions lest the symbiote take control. This gallery diorama of Agent Venom is based on his appearance in Marvel Comics, is made of high-quality PVC, and features detailed sculpting and paint applications. Before we take to looking at the Agent Venom gallery diorama statue, I'd like to first thank the folks over at Diamond Select, who did provide this sample of Agent Venom that we could have a look at in this video. Grabbing now the tape measure just to see how tall the statue stands. Right to the very top of Flash's head, you're looking at the statue of Agent Venom being about 9.5 inches in height, or it's roughly 24 centimeters tall. Now, I'll be honest with you guys, I've never really been a big fan of Agent Venom myself. I did like the idea that the symbiote did bond with Flash Thompson, but I never really liked the idea of him actually becoming like a soldier of sorts. Despite that, though, I actually do think that Diamond Select did a really decent job here on the statue. As you'll see in a second, there's quite a lot of details, considering that he's mostly still in all black and white suit. Picking up, though, the statue so you can get a closer look at it. First of all, we're going to look at the display stand. I get what they were trying to go with here. He sort of is standing on top of, like, rubble. You can see, like, the base of the bottom here is all done here more in a darker brown. A little bit of sheen added in there as well. And you can see there's some lightly colored brown aspects to it that they've also painted in there as well. Then you've got the bottom half of it. Then you've got a part that he stands on top of, and then in between you've got lighter rocks. Unfortunately, though, while looking at this, it looks to me like an ice cream sandwich. Chunky ice cream sandwich, yes, maybe a rocky road, but it still sort of does look a little bit like an ice cream sandwich. Again, you've got the lighter rocks. I feel like they probably could have maybe even darkened the rocks, not as close to maybe the brown here that we have on the bottom, and maybe not to the grayish brown that they have to the top here, but maybe something in between, literally in between. It does look a little bit like an ice cream sandwich. Unfortunately, though, the paint has bled a little bit. The way they've painted the middle section here that you can see as a resulting of that, some of it has bled down to the bottom of the brown. It's basically making for very muddy terrain that Flash is standing on top of. Though as we move certainly further up, you can see, first of all, we'll kind of look at the head sculpt. It's a more stylized design of both the black suit Spider-Man costume and eventually what we'll get with Venom. Again, I kind of like the idea of it. I never really like the idea of the suit design itself. In this case, you don't actually have solid white eyes. You've only got more outlined white eyes. But actually, to the credit of the statue, they didn't simply just go in there and paint and outline this in white. They actually have sculpted this in. You would only have to believe by my finger running across it that this is actually lifted from the rest of the face. The face, other than that, is really simple in design. I mean, it's effective in the sense that it does look a lot like Agent Venom. I'm just not crazy about the design of Agent Venom, that's all. One thing I do like about it is at least they keep the consistency of the symbiote symbol. Wow, that's a whole lot of C's and S's. One thing I do like about it is not only does it stretch across the front of his torso, but they've now gone also in there and airbrushed some darker coloring as well. So it's not just all white. If they had followed the trend of keeping the symbiote as white as they did for the outlining of the eyes, I think there wouldn't be enough darker contrast colors. I'm glad to see that they actually went in there and airbrushed a little bit of darker coloring in there. Then he's got these shoulder pads and these arm guards. It really does depart away from what I always conventionally can think of when it comes to Venom's design. Like the shoulder pads are nicely sculpted, mostly done here in a dark gunmetal gray. It's got a really rough terrain added to it. And like the eyes, you can see outlined in a very clean panel lining of white. In fact, to spin this around, I had a real hard time, actually. Not that I'd go out of my way to look for these things, but I didn't really see any real paint problems at all applied to Agent Venom. The outlining of the white is cleanly applied. It weirdly is stacked on top of itself, where I almost feel like this could have been a darker color underneath, but still it does look clean, and that's the part that's the most important. As these also flaps down, that's a slightly darker black than what we get for the arms that are underneath it. And even though it's a more stylized design of Venom's suit, you can still see they've managed to put a lot of texturing also into the actual symbiote suit itself. like the coarseness that he has in his shoulders, he does also have a carryover of that also in his arm guards, which keep the same consistent color of that dark gunmetal gray. You can still see there's the little white squares that he would have underneath, similar to what Peter Parker would have when he also had the symbiote suit. He's also wielding a big, gnarly looking gun. It looks like it actually does have a sniper, I should say a silencer on the end of it. It is a separate piece too, so it actually doesn't necessarily attach to the hand. It only actually just rests on the hand itself. And of course he's ready. He's already got the finger on the trigger, ready to pull the shot. There's no additional coloring added to the actual gun that he's wielding. It looks like maybe just a little bit of scratching of silver that they've added to it, but a decent looking gun. At least he's actually holding something. If I was to lift this up a little bit, you may be able to see that he's got a silver belt buckle, and next to it, slightly darker pockets of gray. That same gray, putting the gun back down, actually matches the gray that they've used for the straps that he has wrapped around his leg and coming down the front of his waist there as well. And then holstered onto the side, he's got a couple of pistols for obvious reasons, being it's a statue. They are non-removable, but at least they've taken the time to paint them at least a different color than the holsters next to them. I mean, if they had kept it still the same gray, the pistols would be lost. I'm glad they actually went the route of painting this more of a silver and keeping the holsters more of a matte gray. And again, you've got, like the arm gauntlets, you've got these really interesting like leg guards that he has. Again, really interestingly textured and really well painted there too. I mean, again, to the credit of this one is not even liking the suit itself. It's really a well painted suit. And I think that Diamond Select have done a really great job on it. My only real criticism outside the fact that I'm just, honestly, I always really liked just Eddie Brock as Venom. And then also when Scorpion got the Venom suit was also an interesting design as well. For me personally, just from my own personal opinion, I always thought the Agent Venom was the least interesting design for Venom. And yet, despite that, I'm almost sold on the idea of Agent Venom based on this statue. The statue does things well for what limitations it has based on the suit design. I think that like the symbiote has been colored well. The shoulder pads, the arm guards, and the legs all have matching that dark gunmetal gray. And even though, yes, admittingly, the display stand does look a little bit like an ice cream sandwich, I think that Diamond Select have done a great job here on Agent Venom. Sold almost a person that generally doesn't like the suit itself. I think still Diamond Select have done a great job on the Agent Venom PVC gallery statue. Agent Venom actually is a really good example of even not necessarily liking the source material, but liking what they did with the source material. I don't always have to like the character designs of the things I review here on this channel, but I can still appreciate the work that a company puts into producing something that's based on a less than interesting design for me. Like you have a case here with Agent Venom. Don't like the suit, but I like the statue at least that Diamond Select did make for it. It's got some interesting colors, and considering really that Venom already is traditionally a character that's mostly an all-black suit with only just the white accents, I think translating it as a soldier, while I'm not liking the idea of that on paper, it does look for an interesting looking statue when you've got it on display. The only thing, again, I probably would have done differently to this statue itself is touching up the details that they've done to the base itself. You know, I get on paper what it's supposed to be. He's standing on top of like ruins, like rocks that are all stacked on top of one. Did he actually stack all these together before he stood on top of it? I don't really know. But maybe the coloring of the middle rocks are something I probably would have changed and done differently. Maybe even made them more of a gray color and maybe not like that ice cream color that they decided to go with. Because honestly, the way he's standing on top of it, it does look like he's standing on top of an ice cream sandwich. Or I guess what other sandwiches would like? It wouldn't be a meat sandwich. Like a potato sandwich. Who's eating potato sandwiches? Maybe it looks like a potato sandwich. Other than that, though, really nice looking statue. If you are a fan of Agent Venom, whether he's standing on a potato sandwich or not, it does kind of look like an ice cream sandwich, I guess, more so. But if you are a fan of Agent Venom, this is definitely a worthwhile pickup if you guys are interested to get a statue of him. The good thing also about the gallery statues, as I've certainly said time and time again, is the price point of what these things go for. Under $100 most of the time for these PVC statues. You can't beat that compared to what other companies are putting out those premium statues for, well into the several hundreds of dollars, into the thousands of dollars. Diamond Select are doing it better, cheaper, and better suited for those entryway collectors that are now looking into getting statues. Once again, though, a big thank you to the folks over at Diamond Select that did provide this sample of the Agent Venom PVC gallery statue we can have a look at in this review. Let me know down below in the comments section what your thoughts have always been about Agent Venom. Do you like the idea? Maybe Flash Thompson getting the suit was a cool idea. I just didn't like the look of the suit itself. Did you like the look of Agent Venom, or did you not like the look of Agent Venom? What's your favorite look of Venom? Maybe it would be an easier question to ask you guys. And certainly as well, if you enjoyed this video, hit it with a like. If you're loving the content you're seeing and do want to stick around for more, then make sure, yes, you're hitting the subscribe button down below and turning on the bell notification. And of course, while we have wrapped up the review right now of the Flash Thompson, Agent Venom PVC diorama statue, there's definitely going to be a lot more other Diamond Select reviews coming your way in the not so distant future. As always, guys, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.